Welcome to this edition of Meet the Mustangs. Joining us is head football coach for Western New Mexico, Adam Clark. Coach, welcome back.
How we doing? Good to see you.
Doing well. We were just talking off camera. You're a new dad. Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, it's fun.
You've got a 2.5-week, almost 3-week-old boy.
Mm-hmm.
So you're making the adjustment okay?
Yeah. It was a little hectic starting out. We had finishing up spring practice and him coming right then made it a little hectic, but it all worked out fine.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Talking about spring practice.
Mm-hmm.
Overall impression, how'd it go for you?
It was good. It was good. We got better. We addressed a lot of our major issues in terms of just learning how to do things the right way all the time. Still continuing to build our culture here is the most important part of it. From a technical standpoint, learning our offense and our defense. Again, we improved greatly there, and we're a much better team than we were a year ago when I was here as a defensive coordinator in spring. We're definitely a much better football team overall, and then probably better than we were even last season at this point.
Right.
So we're really happy with how it went, but again, still have a long way to go.
When you talk about accomplishing things in spring practice, are you doing a lot of work, as you said, building the culture, teamwork, chemistry, or do you spend a lot of time also on individual positions?
It's both. It's both. The culture thing is a constant. In our weightlifting before we started spring practice, and our morning running, all that stuff that we're back to now that we're done with spring practice, and then into spring practice. It's always working on that culture, always trying to get our guys to understand how to focus on the moment and really try and do every little aspect as well as they possibly can, not accepting less than that from themselves, not accepting less than that from their teammates. Those things, it's a constant. It's a constant struggle, and it's a constant focus of ours to try and get our guys to develop that culture of doing things right all the time, and again having that expectation of themselves, because we can try and hold them to it, but ultimately they have to make the decision to take that approach on a daily basis. So from that standpoint, we're always working on the culture, and that was a huge part of our spring practice and how we went about our everyday drills and all that type of stuff. But then definitely focusing on the technique aspects, and we had a new offensive line coach in who was working with our O-line, teaching them some new techniques, and again, guys that have been here now in our systems for a year, getting more comfortable and refining their techniques and getting better at and doing them correctly all the time. So it's kind of both that we're working on.
Yeah, speaking as an old lineman, I was talking to Coach Kelly, and he said, some of the guys that have been here for a year are finally starting to get it. So I'm glad to see the stereotype for linemen is still there. But talk about some of the returning players as opposed to trying to mix in some of the new players that showed up this spring.
Mm-hmm. Offensively, we have a good group coming back. Our receivers are pretty much intact. We lost Chris Miranda, but and besides that, pretty much we have everyone coming back, and they've showed great improvement, understanding again the techniques we're teaching, understanding the scheme, where we want them to run the routes at, make their breaks at, all that type of stuff. I think we have a pretty talented group there, and we'll add some really talented freshmen to that group. But really happy with that group. Offensive line, like I said, new coach, Coach Knopf, Luke Knopf, really good. Really happy to get him. Think he's done a phenomenal job. Really noticed a change there in our offensive line. One from effort standpoint and playing to the whistle, which was a big issue for us last year that we wanted to improve upon. And the techniques he's teaching as well, our guys really grasped onto those, and I think we improved immensely there. And again, I have a good group of guys coming back there, luckily, with both our tackles, with Saya Vaitai and Diego Gonzalez coming back,
right.
And then Sonia inside. Jamie Lake got back for a little bit. He had an injury he was recovering from. He got back out there for a little bit, and again, all those guys started a lot of games for us last year, and then some other guys with playing experience. Spencer Johnston and then Eric Hall redshirted last year, and he's a guy that's come in and done a good job in the spring. So again, happy with the O-line, thought we progressed, thought we got better there. Have a big group of guys that have played together, so we expect big things from them this fall. Inside the running backs and quarterbacks, those are positions where we lost guys, and we're looking for guys to step up, some young guys to show us things and show us what they're capable of. And Antoine Young, who played some for us last year, got a chance to lead the offense on a more consistent basis, and he did a good job. He improved. We will be bringing in at least one junior college quarterback to compete with Antoine, and we had a couple quarterbacks behind him that were fighting for reps and to learn the system and that type of stuff. And running backs had a number of guys that played there, and again, just wanted to see who could do it. We had Donald Askew played some for us last year, who did a lot of good things in the spring. John De La Rosa is another guy who he redshirted last year, but we'd seen good things from him on the scout team, and he showed some really good signs this spring of being able to do some things and help us out. Abe Macias, another guy at running back that did some really good things for us, and again, we think can help us out next year. So again, we saw a lot of good things in general, but a lot of guys that played last year, especially like I said, the O-line and the receiving core. So again, I think we improved. I think we understand the system better, and again, just function better, but still have a long way to go on the offensive side of the ball. Defensively, they have a little bit more of an advantage in that I was here last spring, so most of those guys now have a true year in the system. Some of them, the junior college transfers, only have last fall, but in general, you can tell there was a much better understanding of the system, of the scheme, of their responsibilities. Many less mental mistakes than we were making last year even.
Well, that's nice from a coaching standpoint, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's always the biggest challenge. I mean, again, I think we have really good physical talent here for the most part in most positions. It's our ability to stay focused, play to play, and not make mental errors, not make it easy to make teams actually execute to be successful against us, not just give them plays. And again, I think we did a better job of that on defense this spring. A lot of guys with playing experience, pretty much our full defensive line back. Mitch Noy had a really good spring. He was pretty impressive for most of the spring. He really has a much better understanding of the defense and is more comfortable, and was really happy with his spring. Aaron Kleinpeter was very good at the defensive end spot. We moved him around and played him an outside linebacker a little bit too, but primarily kept him at the end, and he did some really good things. And again, I think he's a very good player for us, and he had a good spring. And Jarrett Yargis and Bernard McCrayton, those guys again, Jordan Hamill, guys that all played last year for us, again had good springs, got better, understand the defense more, what we ask of them. Anthony Avina, a guy that redshirted for us last year. We just got to make sure he takes care of business in the classroom, because he'll be able to help us a lot next year. He'll be a player, and we'll have Chris Sneed coming back next fall. He had to sit out the semester because he only has one semester left to play, so he wasn't out there for spring. But we're really, in general, very happy with the defensive line. I think, again, we're better there, and we understand what's being asked of us there more, and understand the scheme, and again, think we can be pretty good there. Did some moving around at linebacker, moved some guys around, had a couple new guys come in. But again, I think we're better at that position group, both inside and outside, than we were in the fall. Jake Cross is back, and he's one of our team leaders, and he's a heck of a football player. He's a really good guy, and just makes plays out there, flies around, hits people, does a great job, and again is a leader out there for us. So he had a really good spring. We moved both Ryan Nolan and Nico Skowinski from outside to inside linebacker. They're competing in there, and again, both of them had good springs, and we really feel good about them inside and what they can do. Again, saw good things from that. Had some other young guys competing to play behind them and get reps. And again, we're happy with what those guys were doing, and in general, very happy with the inside linebackers, and I think we're going to be pretty good there.
And your defensive backfield.
Yeah,
Solid.
We should be pretty good there. The corner position, we have two guys returning that have good playing time there. TJ Sumter and Cameron Drawhorn both got playing time last year, and they've been pretty steady. Eldrick Bright redshirted last year, and again, he's a really fast guy. He's moving to corner. He played linebacker in high school, but he's really fast. One of the fastest players on our team, actually. Him just learning the technique, learning the technique and the mental side of things at that position, to not get that kind of linebacker mentality out of
Don't
his
hit
head.
them before they have the ball.
And keep backpedaling when you need to backpedal. Don't look in the backfield. But he has a lot of physical talent. We think he can help us. But Cameron and TJ did a real good job. And again, I'm comfortable with those two out there, and they have good experience out there. And the safety position. Anthony Phillips coming back. He ended up starting about the last half of the season for us, and did a good job. Again, a real high energy guy and a good leader for our team. And again, he really took hold of the defense and has a much better grasp of it, and really didn't have many mental errors. And again, I really grew pretty comfortable with him this spring, and think he's going to be a good player for us and a guy we can really count on. At the other positions, we had guys battling and fighting. Fernie De La Rosa